Hey, this is Matt from Dynamic, and today we're going to set up webhooks. We'll use four resources. The first is a default React frontend. The second, it's a resource called webhook.site. Lets you generate unique URLs and see when requests are sent to them. Super useful for testing webhooks. Thirdly, the docs. And fourthly, the developer dashboard. So let's start with the documentation. Find ourselves some webhooks. So they're here in developer dashboard under webhooks. In the general section, it tells you all about how it's architected, how to use it, all of the different fields and values in the payload, how to interpret it, what generates events. There's lots here. And props to Matt from our engineering team for helping put those together. It's wonderful. Hope you enjoy it. We'll focus primarily on setting up webhooks. First is that we want to identify what events we'd like to monitor. So here in the webhook event types, we can see what's available. Now these are really helpful because they're based on resource, then event. So it's much easier to follow. It's something actually happened to some kind of entity. In this case, the entity is a user. And here a user was created. So in this case, let's focus on that. And we can say in our example, whenever a user is created, we want to update our CRM, send them a text or maybe an XMTP message or whatever else we've got, whatever else you want to do. That's up to you. The responsibility of Dynamic is to emit an event and check for any registered webhooks for that event for your account, and then post an event to those URLs in the form of a HTTPS request. Okay, let's go. Setting it up is super simple. So we saw that we first identify what events we want, and down here, we then develop an endpoint, which we have through webhook.site, and then we'll enable our webhooks from the developer dashboard. So I'm going to do it here. It's in the developer tab. And here you have webhooks. Now, simple as this, create, get our payload URL, pop it in. Here we again have the events listed that we can select. So for us, user created, job done for now. You can select multiple if you want. That's it. You just did it. You don't need to do anything else. And even better, as part of the registration process, we send a test payload. It's called a ping event. So if we take a look here, straight away, we have an example of what the payload will look like. So that's fantastic for testing our app. Now, once we have that, we can then hook into our app, which is going to, develop the logic for sending the XMTP message and all of the rest of it. Again, that's outside of the scope of this video. We want to just make sure that our webhooks are working. So in this case, let's go end to end and see if we can make a trigger. Now, a user can be created in many ways. Generally, the primary one is when they sign up via any means. So we're aggregating all the different sign-up types. Like here, if I click connect my wallet, if I'm not a returning user, here we have wallets enabled and email enabled. You can also have social. You can have embedded wallets or not. It's up to you. You have lots of options. Helpfully though, user created will trigger on all of them whenever a new user reaches Dynamic. And by the way, you can always check that in the developer dashboard by looking at the user management tab. And here you'll have users. I don't have any at the moment. So let's get us one. Here, let's use our wallet. We'll sign up with MetaMask. Let's give an email. Let's go through the verification process. I'll do this on my phone. Here we have a code. We are logged in, or rather signed up for the first time. And if we refresh our page, we indeed have our new user right here. Beautiful. We have a lovely little notification on top of our webhook.site that looks very promising. And indeed, we have our full post. So in this case, this is our ping. More recently, we have our user. Now there's a lot of information here. If you have any questions about it or how to use it, please let us know. It's no problem at all. Again, there's information about the payload in the documentation, but we've just successfully triggered. Now, what if we want to do it in a different way? For example, let's log out and let's continue by email. But in this case, why don't we also configure email signup with dynamic embedded wallets? So it's already turned on by default, which is awesome. And this means that we want people to sign up by email. We want them to get an embedded wallet along the way. And same result. If we do that, +2, .xyz, go through the same process. Here we go. We'll now be prompted to set up a passkey, so I'm going to use mine through 1Password right here. And that's it. Because I used a new email, I'm now just signing up directly through email. It's not associated with anything else. I have an embedded wallet. If we go back to our users, we now have two. One with a turnkey embedded wallet, one with MetaMask, and indeed we have new pings. Sorry, not pings specifically, we have literal pings. We have requests made to our endpoint, which is super. Okay, last thing you need to know is that you can always go back to the webhooks tab, check this guy, and you indeed can see when it was triggered. So super useful. You can see the response, you can see the headers, and then you can see the body, which was returned by your app, in this case, webhook.site. So there's a lot of information in here for you to use as well. You can refresh this at any time. One final point for you to know is that there is something called a signing secret. Again, anyone building webhooks does this as a best practice. Each payload will have something like this, a header with X dynamic signature 256. It's a hash signature value generated from your secret token, which you can give when it's being set up. So here we have the signing secret, and you can always verify that something has been sent correctly by looking at this header and verifying it against the secret given here. Super. I'll leave it to you to build some cool synchronizations. I got so much I want to build with this feature, from synchronizing with CRMs to communication mechanisms, other systems, on-chain, off-chain, all at the same time. It's going to be super fun. So please join me in building some cool stuff, and I'll share mine as I do. Thank you.